Okay, so this week we're going to start something new. We're going to look at structural geology. So, our little craziness that we did on Wednesday, which allowed us to catch up on everything, including the lab, allowed us to finish the kind of the rock portion of the geology class. And so, of course, it doesn't mean we won't be talking about different rocks throughout the rest of the class. Of course, we will, but the focus is now off that, and now we're going to go look at some other stuff. So, as you look ahead, you can see we're looking at structures, we're going to look at earthquakes, and we're going to look at some landslides and river systems and things like that, water, all that kind of good stuff. And of course, rocks come into play for that. But now we're kind of in the second half of the class, so we're going to look at more processes and things like that. So for this week's assignments, because it seems like the way things go in the class when we're in person, we kind of run out of time. I'm going to just put the lecture quiz online, even though there was an attempt at one time to have it on Wednesday. It just doesn't seem that it's working out well that way. So hopefully this works better, gives you some time to process the information that we go over on Mondays and Wednesdays. Then you have all the way till Sunday to get through the content that's online here. So there's some of the PowerPoints here you can look at, the videos of the PowerPoints. We're going to be focusing on two different structures, folds and faults. And of course, we're going to go over that in class. And then in addition, on Monday, of course, because we have lab, we're actually going to do some more structure stuff in class. And so we're going to break out a tool called a Brunton compass. We're going to learn how to read that a little bit. I might even do a little bit of that in lecture. There's a short little video here that's kind of useful too, to using that tool, but it allows us to describe the orientation of a layer that's no longer horizontal. So remember, our story for said rocks was that they're laid flat, but they can be distorted by lots of forces that are ongoing. And so when they're tilted, we want to be able to explain that or describe that, I guess. And so that's what a Brunton compass can measure for us. And so we can go over that stuff. But yeah, so here's the lecture quiz here. You can go ahead and take that. And then, of course, your other parts of your assignments for the week is there's an article quiz, there's a short little video, and then there's a little homework assignment here that you can submit. And so what it is there's some diagrams here. And of course, we're going to go through this in lecture. So hopefully once you get to this, it'll all make sense. But we draw block diagrams of faults and folds, and then we're asking you in this homework to identify them. So it'll make more sense if you've gone through the content, and of course, after we go through the information in lecture and lab. But you're going to look at these and make some interpretation about the forces involved, and we'll name some of these different types of faults and these different types of folds. And so for the homework for each of these, you're telling me the fold name and the fold part and the stress type. And then for the faults, you're telling me the fault name and the stress type. And so, we've been introduced to the stresses already, because we talked about boundaries. We get compressional stresses and tensional stresses and things like that. So those are the stresses we'll be talking about. But those are the assignments that you'll work through this week for the structural geology module. And then, like I said, in lab, we'll also do some similar things. And so hopefully it'll all tie together and we'll be back on track for our lecture lab kind of story. And that craziness of Wednesday will all make sense now. Anyway, good luck with that. And I'll see you this week, and we can chat about cool structural geology stuff.